Hey there guys, welcome to my channel. This is Nayeli, and for today's video we are going to be testing out the new Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator, which is this right here. It comes in a really small tube and it's really affordable. I'm just so excited to try this one out because Wet n Wild sometimes does have some really amazing products, and they are especially known for being very budget friendly. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a nice little tinted moisturizer. I have been in the market for a good tinted moisturizer for a while now. I'm kind of into like CC BB cream type of things that can still deliver some light to medium coverage without completely covering your entire skin. I still wanted my skin to look like skin at the end of the day, so I figured that I'd give this little guy a try. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of primer on half of my face and not on the other half, so that we can really see how much of a difference it makes on the face without using a primer. Because honestly, I'm not much of a primer person to begin with, but I do want to see the difference that it makes. And recently I got some pretty large and painful pimples on my face, so I want to try to see if I can correct them out. I just got this new NYX color correcting concealer, so I'm really excited to delve into that one a little bit and just see overall how I can make my face look with this tinted hydrator. And I was honestly kind of hesitant to purchase this one because it does have hyaluronic acid in it, which I am not a huge fan of because it is known to be pretty drying on some people's skin. They just dry out very instantly, which I think defeats the purpose. But nevertheless, I did want to try this because of its price point and just because it was something new coming out from Wet n Wild. Another ingredient that it has is squalene, which in the past I had tried a like 100% squalene product from The Ordinary, and that one didn't sit well with my skin either. But for another purpose, it just made me very itchy, and ever since I've been kind of scared to try products that contain squalene. But honestly, I think it's because that product that I used from The Ordinary was nothing but squalene, like it was 100%. So because squalene is only one small ingredient that makes a part of the entire product that is this tinted moisturizer, I don't want to, be afraid of having just a little bit of squalene in there. I'll still give it a try. If it makes me itchy, then that'll be more of my own issue because I already know that a high concentration of squalene doesn't work well with me. But of course, it definitely depends on the concentration of it, which is not going to be very much in this product. So I'm going to try not to worry about the squalene. And although, like I did say that it has hyaluronic acid within and it is pretty low on the list, and although it's not fully for sure that the place of an ingredient on the ingredient list does not entirely pertain to how much of that ingredient is present in the actual product, I think it is worth saying that it is pretty low on the ingredient list, so hopefully there's not that much hyaluronic acid in it. And what I do like is that it does contain glycerin and other ingredients and that are proven to be better than hyaluronic acid. So, and those are higher up on the ingredients list. So that definitely makes me feel a lot better about this product. So it has butylene glycol, glycerin, dimethicone, and the squalene does present itself before the hyaluronic acid on the list. It has hydrolyzed hyaluronic acid, titanium dioxide, and iron oxides, which probably pertain to the color I chose for this product. And speaking of the color, I purchased this in tan medium deep. And it is this color right here that is a little bit more tan. Hopefully I purchased the right color. I'm horrible at picking out my own skin color whenever it comes to these products, even if I have it right in front of me, because the color on my hand versus what I have on my neck and versus the actual color of my face are all very different. So I can't just go off of one or the other. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. I am going to put some of the Professional primer on the right side of my face, and I will also include a little bit of concealer in some areas where I have my pimples or a little bit of redness from hyperpigmentation. I also kind of forgot to tell you guys that I had previously moisturized my skin, but it was a very light moisturizer, which I shouldn't even be using anymore because the weather's already starting to get cold. I just love doing everything with my hands. If I could do an entire face with just using my fingers, that would be perfect. Alrighty guys, so I am back and I have some thoughts. Overall, I think that this did a pretty good job so far, especially when I compare the right side of my face to the left. I think it's definitely helpful to have a primer beforehand. I'm sure this one's dimethicone based, so it's gonna be that type of waxier, but I would definitely say that type of primer in combination with this one work really well, because this is the side where I put the primer and the hydrator compared to this one. And I can probably zoom in a little bit more. But yeah, I feel like my pores are definitely a lot more covered on this side than they are on this side. But nonetheless, the color looks very unified throughout my face. And while it doesn't cover everything, I think that it does give me a nice finish. What I also see from some tinted moisturizers is that they can be a little like too much moisturizing, so it never dries out. Whereas this one, it feels like it's already drying off rather quickly. Maybe it's the hyaluronic acid in there somewhere, but my face definitely doesn't feel deprived or extremely dry, which you would hope for in a moisturizer. But it also doesn't feel oily at all in any way. It actually feels a little bit more, if you were to kind of put this on the oily or drier spectrum, it would probably be a little bit closer to drier, which honestly for me is not a big deal. And actually it's a plus, because I'm afraid that because these are moisturizers, that they will leave you a little bit sticky or throughout the day, which is kind of not what you want, especially if you're wearing masks. I honestly do like the finish of it. It's not very shiny and radiant, but it's also not so dry that it looks matte. I feel like it's a nice in between, but if anything, maybe closer to a matte than a radiant finish, which sounds kind of weird to say about a moisturizer, but that's just what I'm seeing right now. And I am someone with oily skin, so the fact that it feels like it already kind of dried is kind of interesting to me. Yeah, and I think as time goes on, it'll probably only continue to feel more dry on my skin, so I may honestly have to feel like I need to moisturize at some point. You know, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt because it is a little bit colder today than it normally is, but yeah, just something to think about. I'm not fully sure if I'm happy about that or not, because part of me is like, oh, I don't want the product to move around a lot, so this is great. But at the same time, at the end of the day, this is a tinted moisturizer, so I don't know. But I will check back in with you guys in a few hours towards the end of the day so that you can see how my face looks then. And then I can give you a better idea of how it feels, how it looks. Do I feel the need to reapply at all? Things like that. The more and more that I look at my face, the more that I am liking the way that it looks. I think that it definitely left a really nice finish on my skin. I feel like I got the coverage that I wanted, not too much, not too little. It's just enough for my personal taste. So I feel that people who are more into your skin but better type of look are really gonna appreciate this little tinted moisturizer. What I would probably say is that I'm not the type of person who wears foundation type products, even if it is a tinted moisturizer or a BB cream or a CC cream or what have you. So this isn't really a product that I would use a whole lot, especially right now that we wear masks. I just don't really see myself wearing these types of products a whole lot. I've become really lazy and I just don't want to get my mask super dirty. So for a nice day to go out, if you're having a special day or if you happen to work in a work environment where you do have to look more presentable, then, or if you're just that type of person who does like to look more put together on a day-to-day basis, then I think this is a good option. I'm still not a huge fan that it has hyaluronic acid, and I think the fact that I don't wear these types of products very often makes it excusable for myself to still keep it around. But yeah, overall, I think for the look, it's a good product for sure. I like that the ingredients list isn't as horribly long as it is for my IT Cosmetics CC cream. I feel like so many people rave about this one, and quite honestly, I don't know, I feel like it's okay, but I'm not 100% happy with it, especially because IT Cosmetic products are just a little bit pricier in general. And I feel like the finish isn't everything that I want when it comes to this one. I don't know why, but I feel like my skin looks a little bit weird. Like the areas around here where sometimes I tend to get some pimples or blackheads is it's way more noticeable that I have them whenever I wear this. I guess that's probably the best way that I can describe it. I just don't like the way that it leaves that. The rest of my skin is kind of okay, but I feel like it's such a hydrating product, the It Cosmetics one, that it's almost a little too much. So I don't know. I never thought that I would say that about this one, but I would probably say that I like this better. But this is me saying that now. As I do the wear test throughout the day for the Wet n Wild one, I will let you know my final thoughts. It's not perfect because even right now that I'm speaking to you guys, especially right here, my face is starting to feel a little bit dry. So as the day goes on, it may continue to feel more and more dry, and I may just at the end of the day say, I hate this product. But because I like the look of it, I feel like I'm willing to sacrifice that and just add a little bit of more drops of moisturizer. As far as shade range, I need to look it up again and I will get back to you guys on that. I'll probably put it on the screen, but I don't think that they had an amazing amount of variety when it came to the shades, which is always a downer. And a lot of times I tend to struggle finding a color that fits for me because there's such a big jump between the colors that they choose sometimes for their ranges that there's no in between that would work for me. This one I feel like did a pretty good job for my skin tone, but I just don't remember there being a lot of darker shades or a lot of in-between shades, which I think now is more of the issue. You know, it's great that they're adding deeper tones, but it's also very necessary for them to include a larger variety of colors in general. So that's what I've got to say about that. Luckily I found a color that kind of matches my skin tone, but I don't think that people with deeper skin tones can see the same thing. So that I think is something to consider for the company, not for you guys. So with that being said, I will run around and do some stuff throughout the day, and I will be back to you guys in a few hours so that we can check to see how my skin is doing and how everything feels. Alrighty guys, so I am back. It's 8:49 right now. Close to 8-9 hours after the fact. So the screen, it's picking it up a little bit more so now that I moved the lighting a little bit back. But I think that it does show a little bit more now. My oiliness, just a tad. Yeah, my oiliness is kind of showing off a little bit more on my forehead and a little bit on my cheeks, which are normally the parts of my face that tend to be a little bit oilier than not. So that doesn't come as much of a surprise. I feel like my nose actually isn't super oily. It's a little shiny, but it's fine. I feel like some of the product has already been absorbed a little bit or has kind of worn off just a tad, but I wouldn't say it's like an insane amount. I would still say that you can see that I am wearing makeup. I don't know if it's the light that's kind of favoring me, but I feel like things look pretty okay. I would honestly say that I am more happy with the look of it more so now than I did earlier, because now I feel like it's more kind of like blended throughout the skin. Time has gone by and it's not as much product on my face. So yeah, as far as the finish and the way that it makes my face look, I think this is pretty good. Definitely for what the product is, which is just a tinted moisturizer. Yeah, I feel like there's an enough amount of coverage. It's nothing crazy, but it's just what I need, just what I like. I did notice that the tone was a little bit lighter for my skin tone as I kind of looked at myself more in the mirror. I feel like when I'm in bright lighting, it's harder to tell, but yeah, you can definitely tell, especially when you're looking at my neck where I didn't put any at all. You can definitely tell in different areas of my skin that there's a little bit more product than in others, so that just kind of means that it's just not showing as much coverage as it did at the very beginning. So now, yeah, it's looking more like my actual skin, which I'm okay with. But I'm also ready to take it off, not because it feels heavy in any way at all. It does not, actually. As far as like, would I say that I feel moisturized? Not necessarily. I definitely don't expect this product to be so long lasting. It makes no claims of it being long lasting. My expectations weren't very high to begin with, especially with like the fact that there's some hyaluronic acid in here. The fact that it does have squalene kind of like made me feel a little better in terms of I'll stay moisturized. But I wonder if like some of the dryness that I initially felt around here and that I kind of felt throughout the day, but it was very, very minimal. I wonder if that has anything to do with the little amount of squalene that was in there. Again, this is just my speculation. It could have been anything. It could have been this hyaluronic acid. It could have been anything else of the ingredients in here, because I don't feel it anywhere else except for around here, like the lower cheek area. Which, oddly enough, I had a lot of itchiness from the ordinary squalene oil. It was mostly in this area, like the décolletage, I guess you could say, but even so, like in my cheek area. So I thought that was really interesting, but not really something that bothers me a whole lot. And when it comes to the coverage, I feel like it did a pretty good job. Like I said, I was expecting a whole lot from it. You expect to get a lot of hydration from this product. I don't think that I would say that that's necessarily what you're gonna get, because I don't feel like my skin is very dewy or whatever. Now that you see some oiliness coming through, that's because of my own skin, but it's not because of the hydrator at all. But yeah, I guess if I were to be asked, does this product moisturize? I wouldn't necessarily say yes. I would say I use this more so to get the tint out of it, to kind of have like a CC cream type of effect. Even then, you're not really gonna get like a super dewy look from this product. At least this is just from what I experienced. Honestly, this is kind of like best case scenario for me, because even though it is supposed to be a moisturizer, at the end of the day, my goal was to find a CC cream or something of the sort that served as a super lightweight foundation that could kind of cover some blemishes and show uniformity throughout my skin, which this did do. It was successful in doing it, so I am appreciative of it. If I need, or for those of you who have specifically, you know, dry skin, I would probably say that this isn't the best product if you want to get hydration. But what I would counteract with is to say, put on an actual moisturizer before you do this, and probably something that is a little bit more packed of ceramides or glycerin and things like that, so that you do get a lot of more moisturization rather than just relying on this product alone. As far as for the name, even though it is a tinted moisturizer, on the other spectrum for people who have oily skin like me, I would say don't be scared to try it because of the name. You know, it sounds like it's gonna hydrate and it's gonna moisturize and do leave you super dewy, and it doesn't. At least for me, it didn't. So I would say not to be afraid of it, and if you are looking for an affordable tinted moisturizer slash CC cream type of product, then I think this is a good option. These are my thoughts about this tinted moisturizer. What do you guys think?